When you're finished with your microscope for the day, you need to get it ready to be inspected by your instructor and put back in the cabinet. Start by turning the power off in the back. Then lower the stage. Remove the specimen. And select the lowest power objective. You can push the stage back so that you can ensure that the condenser ring is set to bright field. If it's on any other setting other than bright field, like phase contrast or dark field, then it needs to be put back in the bright field setting, which is the default setting. If you haven't already done so, you need to clean the 100x objective lens if you've used oil. You need to inspect the stage to make sure that there's no oil on the stage and clean it if there is. And also inspect the body of the microscope to make sure that there's no stain on it. And if you find anything like stain or oil, it just needs to be cleaned before you ask your instructor to inspect your scope. Now you need to wrap the power cord for both the microscope and the camera. For the microscope, I'm going to unplug it and then wrap the cord around this way and then on top of the plug like this. Do not wrap underneath the plug like this. I'm going to wrap around a couple of times. And then tuck the plug in. You're going to have a bit of plug left, or a bit of cord left rather. Just going to tuck it in so that it doesn't unwind while you're carrying it, like so. That'll also make it easy for the next person to get the power cord and plug it in. Now we're going to wrap the power cord for the camera. Unplug cord. And I'm going to leave this end of the power cord plugged into the camera. Sometimes it helps as you're wrapping the cord around the neck of the camera, like so. So the cord is relatively snug. And then you can unplug the cord in the back of the camera. Now your microscope is ready to be inspected by your instructor. Once your instructor has inspected your microscope, the last thing that you need to do before putting your microscope back into the cabinet is to put the dust cover on. The dust covers go on like this, not like this. So I'm going to put the dust cover on, and then I'm going to carefully grab my microscope with both hands. I'm going to swing it around 180 degrees so that the ocular lenses are facing away from me. This is the way that the microscope needs to go back into the cabinet, with the ocular lenses facing the back of the cabinet. Kind of tilt it up so you can get your hand underneath it. Always carry it with the hand underneath it, and then very carefully slide it into its spot on the cabinet. So each cabinet has a number that corresponds with the microscope. You need to make sure that the microscope goes back in the proper spot. And when you do so, you have to be very careful when you're sliding the microscope into the cabinet not to hit the camera on the top of the scope with the cabinet or shelf on top. So this is when the microscope or the camera is most likely to get damaged. So once you get it on the shelf, you kind of reposition it, push it in far enough so that you can clearly see the number on the shelf, and then you are done.